We're here today at a 2-shingle repair. We're doing a repair system of this roof. I like to use this tool here. It's just a simple simple stainless steel, flat tool. Makes it really easy to get underneath the glue seal without having to pry or anything. I can easily just slide underneath and separate that glue seal. I've outlined an area here for a 3-tab repair or repair assessment. I won't know exactly if this is, if I guess correctly. I might have to shift this right or left a bit depending on where the actual full shingle is. Like I said, so this might move right or left a bit. But here is our repair area, so I'm going to go ahead and start. This is the shingle in question, and we always have to go 2 quarts above. So, as you can see, this tool works very well in separating the glue line. I don't have to pry any, I can just easily slide underneath. But let's take a look. There's one in here somewhere. Let's look. Okay, here's the actual start. So we're actually going to move one over. So I already did this one perfect, and this one was actually already loose. So, yep, there's this one. I'm actually going to loosen the shingle itself, of course. And then we have to go 1 quart above because there are 2 quarts of nails in here and in here that we do have to remove. Alright, let's, nope. Ooh. Okay, it is there. It's just a little sticky. So to go up here to this one. Alright, perfect. That's that. Then we're going to go ahead and use this tool. This is a snake, or we call it a snake tool. Very common, often used, recommended by the insurance. This is to obviously remove the nails in question. So like I said, here's where the shingle starts. So get that underneath. Unfortunately, as you can see there, the nail pulled straight through the shingle, tearing as it went. See if I can get the actual nail out. And it tore it completely. Wow, yeah. It just tore the shingle completely, as you can see here. And this one is already overdriven a bit. I hope the way my camera's sitting, that can be seen. This one is just, you can barely see it. I'll go ahead and try and get this one. Nope. Just tore right through the shingle. The shingle seems to be very brittle, not very flexible. So I'll try and get this without doing any more. There we go, there it comes. And then, for reference, this is how a nail should be sitting, nice and flat. The shingle is just too brittle. It immediately tears as soon as any pressure is put onto it. I'll try and remove this without damaging. There we go. Yeah, it immediately tears. It even tore the shingle. Yeah, it tore it all the way down that hole. Oh, let's not lose that. Let's double check again. 1, 2, 3. Should be one more nail over here. Yep. Yep, nope. Tears immediately, minimal pressure. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my own personal tool. I've had way more success in getting nails up without any kind of fastener pulls coming through with this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that on the next quart of nails, since we do have 2 quarts. I always like to double check. Never hurts. Oh, I missed one right here. Go ahead and take this one out. That one came out very clean, comparatively. Adjust my camera a bit. So 1, 2, 3. Double check always. Good. 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 Above. There seems to be some material transfer here. You can see 2 spots right there and right there. This nail does not seem to be at all hammered in. There seems to be nothing underneath it with any kind of, this one as well, they're coming out very easily. That might be the tool in question. However, feel wise, yeah, there doesn't seem to be, and they were hammered in correctly, there doesn't seem to be anything underneath it that's holding it enough. That might point to some decking, which would make sense. As you can see, this nail here is starting to rust, so water is getting underneath the shingles, so that could point to potentially decking being rotten. So let's see if I got them all. Yep. Down here you can see there's some material transfer. Good way to tell. Here's that tear again. Tore nicely. Or not nicely, but it tore. There's another tear. You can see how it's all damaged around. It's a big old hole. Here's another one that tore the shingle as it went. Here's actually a nice hole. These are the upper ones. These came out nice. This is how it's supposed to look versus big old hole, a tear right here. This one also has a much bigger hole because it tore through. But yeah, here's a shingle in question, or the old shingle. Yep, just a shingle. Take a look here. Surface underneath. You can see these. That one's good. These two are good. This one's driven in a little bit too much. Nothing crazy, not like before. But we're going to go ahead and grab this shingle. This shingle is not meant to match in any way, as we already have repairs done previously on this roof. This is just a generic 3-tap that I know will obviously fit in the area here. So let's slide that in to right about there. And this, now we come to the hammering, or the reinstall. So again, I'm going to try and use this snake tool. And the proper way to install nails is actually right above the glue line. So you can see there's the glue line. I have to go right above it. Looks like this slipped off. These snake tools are very difficult to use in this regard, as you can't really see what you're doing. And you're technically hammering behind the nail instead of right on top of it. So as you can see, because of this extra lip it has right here, it can never get those nails down flush. So I do have to go back and lift it enough to get a good strike on, to get it flat. We're going to try this again one more time just to show it again. Go right above that glue seal. Slips right off. And we'll try again with this one. As far down as I can go. And again, that nail head still lifted up. It makes it look like it's a nail pop even though it isn't. So I do again have to manipulate the above shingle to hammer it in. Actually, it looks like this did more damage. I'm going to take that out. It looks like this nail, it went in crooked because I'm hammering from behind it. I'll have to use a different nail with this one. I'm actually going to now stop using this tool simply because it's not doing the correct work. I can't get a flush nail head in there. I always have to go back with my hammer and manipulate the shingle anyways, so that tool is effectively useless. So I'm going to go ahead and install this properly. I do have to manipulate the above shingle enough to get a solid strike on, which I would have to anyways because the snake tool did not work. Let's put those away. And I'm going to go ahead and continue. Again, I have to manipulate the above shingle to install this correctly. And one more over here, and then we'll move up to the next quart. Again, right above the glue seal, as you can see. Glue seal's right here, nail goes right above it. I do have to manipulate that above shingle enough get a solid flat strike on here, or else I would not be installing the shingle properly. And up to the next quart, again, find glue seal right above it. Sorry about that. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my pocket. There's number one. Do it right next to it. And right next to it again, always having to manipulate the above shingle, or else I cannot get a solid strike. If I can't get a solid strike, I am not installing this correctly. And last but not least, right over here, there we go. All nails are now installed into that shingle, and now we're going to go ahead and look at the results. So obviously all of these shingles, you can already start, there's a crease right there forming. Do the manipulation. There's another one right here. There's another one right there. This one seems to be good. This one seems to be good. There's another one right here. These weren't really affected. This one has also one coming up right here. Dash it through the 8. Make sure I didn't affect any other shingles. The rest of them are also sealed down, mostly sealed down. You can see another one right here next to it. And I also did observe the same thing in all the previous repairs. So this here would be considered for me a fail, in my professional opinion, due to the tearing, due to the creasing that occurred. Mainly due to the tearing. It obviously shows that the shingle is no longer pliable enough for repairs, and then creasing, you're damaging more shingles around the area, so you're really making it worse by doing repairs. But one last thing I will show, put that away. This is our work area, of course. Just use this soft bristled brush just to show granules. And as you can see, several falling down all around the work area, especially with the creased shingles. Here, exposing the creased shingles a little bit better. But yeah, a bunch of granule loss now in the work area. And I have over here a control area. No work was done in this area. And I'm gonna start brushing. There's a little bit of granule loss, which of course is to be expected, but not nearly as much as in the actual work area. And then one last thing I will show briefly. As we can see, there's a repair right there. One over here, I'm gonna show. Here's the first one I marked, says repair 1. These are previous repairs, and you can see clearly there's creasing already occurring here. This is probably what happened during the install of the shingle during the prior claim. So this honestly shouldn't have been done, simply because it did cause more damage to surrounding shingles by installing one. And I observed this with every single one, some more than others. You can see there's a couple markings up there. There's one above that. There's another one over here. Same thing on the front. I know this is on every single previous claim shingle that they also cause damage to surrounding shingles. Based on all of that information, this is non-repairable. I will be pulling the shingle out and tarping it, just so no water, nothing gets in there, since there does seem to be a little bit of decking concern. But yeah, for now, this is a fail.